Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. As you can see, I've just stepped off the train. It's Thursday morning. It's springtime. It's just before dawn. We can see a bit of pink just starting to generate there on the horizon. And it looks like it's going to be overcast, but mild. What I want to do today is go through a book summary, a very interesting book summary. Not the typical sort of book summary that I normally present, but it's a book entitled Fascism. And it's written by an awesome author and US politician, ex-US politician, Madeline Albright. So this book here is a book which examines the nature behind the far-right authoritarian ideologies, which pose a serious threat, according to the author, to democracy. And this ideology normally draws power from national anger and has usually a charismatic and powerful leader who tends to have risen through the ranks, and they are able to connect emotionally with their peers and are able to convey and to leverage and to manipulate national public frustration. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? It's only in the past 18 months to 2 years with the COVID-19 pandemic that we've seen, changes in people's behaviour and a rise of this far-right ideology. And with the benefit of public, it'll come to me now. with the rise of the internet and social technology, what we've seen is these leaders rise to power via democratic means. So it's funny because it just seems that they infiltrate and they just come from the closet, and before you know it, they're leading groups and packs of people in illegal protests. They're social influencers, being able to tap into various groups via social media. That's the word I was looking for social media. And it's this new technology that has given rise to a new level of fascism, according to the author. So these leaders, these groups, these movements, groups of radicals tend to lead a vocal, emotional minority who feel wronged in their lives. And I guess being locked down for 3 or 4 months, or being in Victoria and being locked down, I guess, for a record number of months, in itself gives people a voice to try and feel wrong and to blame others. So as you can see, I've just come off the train here. Lots of people. Where else in the world can you get off a train and be presented with such a beautiful masterpiece known as Circular Quay? I got the other guy there coughing and sneezing away, which is very welcomed. So and on that topic, fascism lives and breeds on a basis, according to Madeline Albright, of blaming others. So how is it caused? How does fascism come to the surface? And as the author articulates clearly here, it's used. It usually comes about through the manipulation of facts and their ability of the leaders to politicise things through taking control of media and indoctrinating those around them. And it's called an indoctrinated utopia. They take a position of utopia, of how things should be and how things might be in a perfect world, and they create the imagery for people saying, well, this is how you should be, and the reason why you're not living this perfection, this utopia, is because of the powers at play, the powers that are being, that are causing you to miss out. So, according to the author here, fascism is a tyrannical rule. It's run by tyrants. So, where does it lead us? What can we learn, and how can we use this in today's world? So, the first formal point to come out of this book is where Madeline Albright says that in a fragile democracy, what happens is that fascism can bubble to the surface. So it's about being in a fragile democracy, not a strong one, but a fragile one. And I guess that COVID-19 and the pandemic has brought out the fragility of democracy throughout virtually every country in the world, because every country in the world has had to deal with COVID-19 in different ways. So what these leaders tend to be able to do is they are able to focus attention, because they're really good at achieving specific goals. Sorry about that. I think I've jumped a page. Sorry, I jumped a page in my notes. So in terms of fascism, they talk about people like the Italian dictator Mussolini, and he said that fascism, and he uses a metaphor in terms of how does one get to power and how does one get to a position where they can manipulate the many. And he says it's all about plucking a live chicken. And to pluck a live chicken, you've got to do it feather by feather without anybody noticing, by using stealth, and hence fascists are brought to power whereby they abide by the democratic rules initially, and then they rise to power, have their power base, and then they start manipulating that power base through the various techniques that they have. And we've got plenty of examples. We've got Stalin, we've got Hitler, we've got Erdogan, and in many ways, there are lots of groups, lots of leaders, lots of charismatic leaders who start off quiet, and as they grow, and all of a sudden you see their true colours. And what fascism does, and we've seen it in our daily lives just over the past year and a half, is that it addresses the anxieties of the people. And Trump was a champion at addressing and inflaming the anxieties through their speeches, through their imagery, and through their politics and policies. So what leads people, communities to move to a fascist sort of leadership and being indoctrinated? It usually happens when they feel that the political system is corrupt, where unemployment increases and people generally become frustrated and lose faith in their political system. The next point that the author brings up is that fascism is a recurring sort of political ideal, I guess, for some people. And fascists get to power by continually promising to fight the enemy of the state. So through the media, through, circumstance, they're able to identify and stir up people's emotions, suggesting that the state is corrupt and is not attending to their needs, and it leads to an extreme ideology. And we just look around us and you see extreme ideologies generating left, right and centre throughout the world, in Australia, in the US, in England, in Greece, you name it. Wherever you look around the world, you've got these growing extremist views. But the call to action from this author is that we need to do whatever we can to preserve democracy, because extreme views, extreme politics will never take the place of democracy. And just being frustrated, this is a great point, just being frustrated is not good enough reason to trash democracy and to disturb and disrupt the democratic process. And we have a deeper look at what causes anxiety. And when people are negative, when people have a negative mindset, it tends to inflame things and make things worse. We need to understand and appreciate, according to the author, that things are not ideal. But the bottom line is that even though things are not ideal, we are still better off now than what we've ever been before in the past. The author then talks about, I guess, the dangers of social media. And what it does is that it gives a voice to groups. It allows certain individuals to be able to target their messages to groups. It allows people to gaslight and to get in contact with people all over the world. A lot of the anti-vaxxers, a lot of the anti-vax movement is being fueled by small groups located throughout the world who are able to identify influencers and manipulate them through their indoctrination and create rebellion through a cheap and easy platform. They're able to spread their disinformation, misinformation and fake news and really stir up people's emotion and get them, working hard for a cause that has no real purpose other than to disrupt and to create money-making opportunities for the ones who are peddling the disinformation and bullshit. Anyway, I'll finish off there. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. We went through this fascinating book called Fascism by Madeline Albright, and we'll look forward to catching up again from a different place, from a different location, with a different message, a message of empowerment, and see where it leads us. So take care, have a good rest of the Thursday, and we'll chat again shortly. Bye for now. Yassas, and we'll catch up again. Bye.